Most entrepreneurs don't have a strategy problem, they have a sustainability problem. Or put another way, if you constantly have to force yourself to perform, then you've built a system that's eventually going to work against you instead of for you. I'm Lenny Morgan. I am the founder of Momentum Without Hustle. And what that means is getting momentum in your business without having to constantly self generate, self force, and push yourself until you are burned out to have success. I have discovered a better way, and I'm sharing that with you. So, this is for entrepreneurs and business owners and high achieving individuals who are looking for a better way. They're burned out, they're getting burned out, they want to avoid burnout. Some people thrive under the pressure system. I personally don't, and so this is for individuals who don't thrive under having lots of pressure, and pressure just is not a good thing for them. A little bit of pressure can be okay. Constant pressure as a force of source of can be a source of stress, and I'm all against that, because constant living in constant stress, it just burns our bodies out, and then we can't perform anything because we're exhausted and we have nothing left to give. Um, as you'll also see, even in the AI days, this video is authentic. That's another thing that I teach and that I believe and that I practice is authenticity. So I'm not going to give you an AI version of me that would be able to deliver this perfectly. However, the reason is there's been a lot of testing on that, and what's been discovered is those do really great out the gate with getting people to sign up and buy whatever the service or product is, but the cost is long term. They backfire. People, once they realize who the individual really is and that AI is different, you can tell there's subtle differences in the AI between the AI version and a real person when they're presenting, and that it costs. The people feel betrayed. They feel like they were lied to, and they leave. They want refunds, and I'm not about that. I have always, in my 40 years of entrepreneurship, I have always subscribed to, let's do it right the first time. Let's build loyalty so we have long-term customers and we're not having to constantly rebuild sales and rebuild trust. Once trust is gone, sometimes you can't rebuild it. But constantly having to feed the machine with new customers, that I hate that. I'd rather have repeat business that I get once and I serve well and I continue to increase. My dogs are playing to increase loyalty over time. That's what I'm all about. So this is for people who subscribe to that. Looking over my notes here. So the problem with, like I said, the problem with the hustle culture is it works very, very short term, but it is not a long-term mechanism for me and for many folks. If it works for you, great. Then this is definitely not for you. You can turn the video off. You can go do something else because it's not for you. If you love that hustle culture and you thrive in that, and some people do, and that's okay. This is for those who really don't. And I spent years trying to force myself as a round peg into a square hole, and it just never worked. It would maybe work short term, but then I'd get burned out. And it wasn't sustainable. So I had a mindset shift through decades of work with coaches and seminars. Most of it came through coaches, which is what I do. If you're an individual who has done a lot of seminars and books and etc., and I'm going to offer a lot of that for free or for discounted prices because that's where I started. I wasn't ready for coaching in the beginning, and you can get great results just from the free material. But where I really had my growth was working with competent coaches, and not all coaches are equal. I worked with coaches who could see right through my programs and were really good at first they taught me how to use the tools better, because I had the tools, I had them all up here, but getting them down into my heart, that's always the biggest journey, and that takes time. That takes really good coaches, and I had coaches that helped me do that. And I do that through listening very intently and through asking very specific questions to help somebody see their own problem. So instead of telling you, well, I see what your problem is, you've got to do A, B, and C, and then that'll get you the results. That usually doesn't work. Once in a while, if the person says, I'm really stuck and I can't see what to do, then that is fine. But for the most part, for our programming, what we need is we say, hey, I'm frustrated, this is going on. The coach asks a series of questions, and then those questions get to be asked in a certain way, like, well, why are you doing this to yourself? You would never do that to somebody else. You would never expect that of somebody else. Why are you so hard on yourself? Why do you drive yourself to that level of perfection that is just unattainable? Whatever the question is. And get a person to see that, oh, what I'm doing is unreasonable. I would never do that to anybody else. I am a person and I am worthy of the same treatment that I would treat somebody else with. That tends to do better with helping somebody see the problem themselves. And then once somebody sees the problem, then they can take it and they're empowered. They can make other choices. They've had a revelation. And with that revelation, you can have very fast changing in your internal programming. To change programming, it takes thousands, sometimes tens of thousands of repetitions, which is not only takes a lot of time, every time, if we're repeating something well, it takes good repetitions. So anytime a bad repetition comes in there, like your language, you're saying something positive to yourself, something positive to yourself, something positive to yourself, then you say something negative, you've just undone 10 to 20 positive statements. And so sometimes you never get ahead because it's literally 10 steps forward, 10, 11, 12, 20 steps backwards. That doesn't get you forward with repetition. It can work, but it doesn't work for most people without a coach. The coach can help you with revelation, and with that revelation, you can have an instant change. How many people have had a near-death experience or some traumatic experience, and then it changed their life forever? That's the difference of revelation, and that's what I do with Momentum Without Hustle. Is I teach people and coaches how to deliver that and how to achieve that for themselves. So it doesn't mean this momentum without hustle. It doesn't mean laziness. It doesn't mean no work. It doesn't mean that hard work never happens. It doesn't mean that you'll never hustle for a short term. That's not what it means. It means the long-term hustle, the long-term constantly forcing yourself to perform and pushing against it. It's really all about aligning somebody with their authentic true self. Said with these videos, they are authentically me. They're not AI. They're just me talking. And you'll even see me looking down at my notes to get me back on track. This is me. This is the real me. And if it's not for you, great, go somewhere else. And if it's for you, then we can relate to one another and we can have a conversation first through these videos. And then I'd love to talk to you one-on-one. Email me, message me. I do really great through email. My email is lenny@momentumwithouthustle.com. Let's just have a conversation. There's no cost in just talking. Later on, I do cohort classes and groups and masterminds and stuff like that. And some of those are for free or for discount or for a cost. And we cross those bridges when a person comes to me and says, I'm ready for the next level. So I'm not a pushy salesman. I've never been that. I've had lots of people try to train me into that, and it's just not me. It feels awful. It goes against my alignment. It goes against who I am, and it's not who I am. So this channel is all about simplicity will always beat complexity every time. And it'll beat intensity, not just complexity, but intensity every time. And say hello to one of my dogs, Bailey. Yes. Hi. Oh, she's going to really say hello. Okay. Sit down, sweetheart. So what we'll work on in these videos is mindset shifts. I do a lot of practical application too. So it's not just about one of the answers that I hated. I know why the answer is given in one of my coaching seminars that I subscribe to from another company. Their philosophy is, I don't have your answer, you have it for you. And I understand that. But sometimes there's a point where I didn't have the answer. And no matter how many times they told me that, it took years for me to figure it out on my own. So I do help people break through, and at the higher level, the high level coaches who were really trained well at that, they could put that aside and say, okay, you need to do A, B, and C, because if you don't, you're getting these results, and walk me through the practical side of things. But that takes years of training and practice to be able to do that. I'm one of those coaches now that can do that with people and have done it. Another thing this channel is about is action creates clarity. I don't believe sitting around waiting for things to be perfect is the answer. That was and is still one of the programs that I get to recognize that comes up a lot. Waiting for perfection, waiting for the perfect circumstances until everything's just right. It won't do it. I'll give you a real honest example. This video I meant to record Monday, it is now Friday. I had been waiting for perfection all week, and last night I said, that's it. It doesn't matter. I'm going to record it how I am, where I am, whatever I'm wearing, whatever the weather is. I'm going to go out and do it in the morning. And so here I am. So I walk the walk as well. Sustainable businesses are built through repeatable habits. So there is some repetition, but it's as one of my coaches in college told me, practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. Now, without getting into the program that's self-sabotaging around perfection, because perfection can be an elegant form of procrastination, from another one of my coaches, we do the best we can. So excellence and perfection are two different things. We'll talk about that in another video. Waiting for everything to be perfect is probably meaning that you're never going to get off the ground. Getting that airplane in motion, when just where you are with what you have, doing the best you can, that's excellence. Do the best you can with what you have. And I'm a very big believer in moving forward in excellence. And I'm a very big believer that what we feel as perfection is going to take time, and it's going to take a lot of repetitions. So I get to remind myself that often, that if I try to start with perfection and I want everything to be perfect before I start, I'm never going to get started. And that's it's been a challenge that I have been able to work through, and I still get to work through on a daily basis. So if you like what you've heard and some of this resonates with you, I encourage you to subscribe to this video. We're going to be doing weekly videos, occasionally a bonus video. Share what you're struggling with, either in the comments or email me, lenny@momentumwithouthustle.com. And if you'd like me to talk about specific topics, tell me that as well. I am very open to what this can look like. And I look forward to seeing you on our future conversations. Have a good day.